Hey guys, this is Matt Wenning at winningstrength.com. And today we're going to talk another sad situation about Jody Vance, 20 years old, dying at the Arnold Classic. This hits home for me tremendously because the gym is only 5 blocks away from the Arnold. And we know that training like bodybuilding, even in some cases cutting for powerlifting, can have some drastic problems in your body. Before we get to that, please like and subscribe and then comment on anything that you may have heard that happened. And I want to go over some things that I think need to be addressed so that other people don't follow in the same footsteps as Jody, unfortunately. I think one of the things that makes bodybuilding so much more complicated and dangerous than powerlifting, especially with this type of stuff, is the use of diuretics or cutting agents. Now, there's a lot of over-the-counter stuff that claims to lean you out and get you, get your metabolism higher to burn a little bit more calories. But in reality, most people, either male or female, tend to lean towards clenbuterol to get that last little bit of water weight off their skin. And this can cause a lot of different problems, as in probably Jody Vance's situation that I can almost guarantee. Some of the symptoms that you have when you're dehydrated is you'll feel ill and you'll also probably be throwing up. Everybody has a different reaction to dehydration. But I think that people don't realize how dehydrated some of these athletes really get for either slightly extended periods of time or right at the day of the show. They can be so water non-retentive that their organs actually start shutting down. I had a handful of friends that were professional bodybuilders anywhere from 15 to 20 years ago, and some of them said that their kidney function was so bad that they looked like they were 90 years old when they were 28 years old getting ready for a show, because of mostly dehydration, which is completely crazy. But the problem is that everybody wants a short-term fix to get leaner because they want to get on stage, they want to look their leanest at a certain time. The problem is that for females especially, getting to a certain lean point can have some drastic measures taken on the human body. Females tend to be a little bit more sensitive to dehydration than males, and they need a little bit more body fat for survival and menstrual cycles. So I find that this is very horrific, because we get caught up in what people look like in magazines and how people look like on stage. And then what we don't realize is some of that's genetic and some of that is so dangerous that it's not even really worth it. I mean, imagine being 20 years old, you're probably just in the start of your career of what you're doing with this, and you get so dehydrated that you die. It's totally crazy. And it hits home for me because I remember when I was younger, I would have done anything to break world records. And fortunate enough for me, I scathed away with no physical injuries per se. But, to see people die at 20 years old is just crazy. And now we're getting some information that Jody Vance was also probably taking clenbuterol because her trainer was talking about dehydration from dangerous substances. And, clenbuterol is one of them. You also have propionate, which is a fast-acting testosterone. A lot of women in those particular types of crowds will use Anavar if they can get a hold of it. You start mixing anabolic substances with cutting agents, and the body really just doesn't want to survive that if the diet is clean enough. And I think that that's a huge issue too, is that a lot of people eat so little and drink so little to pull that water down that you're in a really high state of alarm when that happens and you're a walking time bomb. Other things that I've seen happen with this particular situation is people having strokes, people having other types of brain injuries or muscle cramps so bad that they actually tear muscles. The point is that although we can look up to guys like Chris Bumstead and even Jody Vance and people like that just have these extreme looks and want to push these extreme levels, I'm very touched that people want to push that hard. But in reality, we have to look at the big picture and realize that, no matter how hard we try to go, that it has to be important for us, right? I remember kind of coming back into my own field is that when I squatted 1,200 and I was one of the lightest guys to do it at the time, I remember picking up that weight in my body, throwing so many red flags that it was unbelievable. And that's when I knew that my equipped days of lifting were over, just because I had lost the capacity to want to push that hard to feel like I was damn near going to die. And so I can only imagine the pressure that people feel when they compete at the Arnold today, how young they are, and these things. It's really, really sad. But, a lot of this could be contributed to just too severe of a diet drop. Your caloric intake, your salt monitoring, all of these things become so minimalized that your body's just basically running on fumes. And so I feel terrible for Jody Vance. I feel terrible for the family. I also feel terrible for the bodybuilding and fitness community in knowing damn well that even though Jody Vance has passed, that nothing's going to change. People are going to do the same thing. And hopefully that doesn't happen to you, and you can take everything a step back and look at what is important in life, right? Look at the people around you. I wonder the family members that Jody Vance has left behind for a couple thousand people to recognize who she is at this point in time. Within 5 years, nobody will care anymore. And I think that's difficult for us to swallow, is the fact that this stuff has a limited time frame. There's only going to be so many Arnold Schwarzeneggers that can take bodybuilding and make it a profession in acting. Think about all the other bodybuilders after him. Like, none of them became superstars and multimillionaires and being able to convert it over to other things. There were a lot of people that trained in Arnold's era that looked really, really good, and nobody remembers who they are. And so, though I'm not downplaying what Jody Vance was trying to do, and I'm not downplaying what bodybuilding and stuff like that is today, but what I want to get you guys to realize is that focus on what's important. Train hard. If you want to lean out, but do it the right way, do it controlled, and be under the supervision of a physician if you're going to go super extreme, so that these things could be monitored. I'm sure that if Jody was getting blood work done 2 or 3 days out from this competition, it would show some severe markers, probably real high, thickness in her blood. There could have been a lot of other factors that somebody would have been able to see and help her, hopefully. So again, take care of yourself. If you need help professionally, come to wenningstrength.com, and we'll do the best we can to make sure you can reach your goals safely.